You're watching the Big Realty Debate, and over the next 60 minutes, we will thrash a staring reality. India's slums and debate. Can we make India's cities, especially Mumbai, slum-free? Just some facts which are so startling. Slum population has doubled in the past 2 decades, and as our cities grow faster than overall population, slums will grow at an alarming rates, creating a whole social infrastructure imbalance unless we do something meaningful about it today. My guest speakers today on the panel: Anil Vankade, Deputy Metropolitan Commissioner, MMRDA; Mukesh Mehta, Chairman, Projects Consultants; Rajendra Chorse, Senior Vice President, Omkar Realtors and Developers. They are doing a lot of work in Mumbai with slum redevelopment. And I have with me Sameer Jasuja, CEO and founder of Prop Equity. Also, we'll be joined on the show by Naveen Raheja, CMD Raheja Developers. In just a while, Raheja Developers is, of course, developing a slum in Delhi. Now, gentlemen, thanks very much for joining me. Just for our viewers, I'm going to set some facts as just to establish what's happening on the ground. Slums in India: about 52,000 slums in the cities of India. 14% of total urban households live in these slums. This is, of course, Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation data. State-wise, if you look at it, no surprises there. Maharashtra at 32%, West Bengal at 16%, Andhra Pradesh, surprisingly, I wasn't aware of this fact, and I think a lot of you wouldn't be. Andhra Pradesh actually comes third with 15% of slums. A very startling fact: 50% of slums have no drainage, sewage and garbage collection facilities. But I'm going to go to my panel and find out what's really happening in slum rehab in India. So, Mr. Chorse, first coming to you. You've been doing this work for some time, attempting in Mumbai. If you look at the facts, it almost seems like nothing has happened since independence to now. Slums have rapidly grown in numbers despite the government and the states allocating funds. Progress is very, very minimal.
Well, if you see the position as it prevails in Mumbai, in 95, after the process was initiated, the first survey, that time they had a target of settling around 8 lakh tenements. And as I understand till now, almost 2 lakhs have been done in a period of 7 years. Of course, the number 8 lakh may have increased by during this period, but this itself is significant given the parameters, given the limitations, given the legal controls within which the whole system has to operate. I think this is a positive move, though not very significant, but significant enough to tell us that we are on the right path.
Okay, so you're saying that, okay, 2 lakh tenements have been made. Mr. Vankade, do you think this figure is extremely small when you look at the slums in Mumbai? In fact, you look at any foreign articles, they talk about Mumbai, they talk about the India economic growth story, and then they talk about the fact how Mumbai is increasingly starting to look like a large slum as a city as a whole.
Yeah, we in MMRDA look at it, this issue in 2 ways. One, there is a in situ rehabilitation of the slum dwellers, where the slum dwellers have been given proper houses and proper facilities. Other is about the clearing of the development plan roads. Now, a lot of roads in the city of Mumbai are encroached. A lot of reservations have been encroached. So, those people cannot be rehabilitated at the same plot. So, through these slum rehabilitation schemes, we have generated more than 55,000 tenements, about 38 colonies, and these people have been rehabilitated in those colonies. Because of these resettlement schemes, we could free about 18 corridors, 18 roads. We could take up mega projects. So I think this slum rehabilitation scheme is working in a very fantastic way in the city of Mumbai. But yes, it requires some movement, and it is not up to the satisfaction of the citizens.
Mukesh Mehta, coming here, so we are hearing, yes, it's a small step, but too insignificant. If you look at the rapid growth of slums in Mumbai, the population growth, even Dharavi, is stuck. I mean, the redevelopment of Dharavi hasn't taken off as it was supposed to have.
I guess I'm in minority here. I feel that the slum scheme has done pathetically badly. I feel that in 1995, as Mr. Chorsey said, they were looking within 5 years to make Mumbai slum-free. Instead, today, instead of 8 lakh families and businesses, there are probably 1.7 million, which means twice as much have happened. In the meantime, we have only rehabilitated or built buildings for 200,000 families and businesses. And quite frankly, these are also vertical slums. Because I don't think that the concept of slum rehabilitation is properly understood either by the policymakers or by the people who are implementing it.
Mr. Mehta, elaborate on that. Why do you say that it's not being understood? Because if you look at the budgets under the Rajiv Yojana as well, are all mouthing big noises about slum redevelopment. But yes, on the ground, as you've pointed out, it's a beginning, but absolutely insignificant if you look at the kind of requirement there is to actually make Mumbai slum-free. Forget about slum-free, even reduce the slums by a extensive number.
Yeah, I've worked extensively, informally, on the Rajiv Awas Yojana. And quite candidly, I did express to the people who are making the policies that a lot of things, JNNU, RM, and this is where my political friends and bureaucratic friends are not going to like me for expressing what I'm about to express, but we are wasting taxpayers' money. Because in cities like Delhi, Mumbai, etc., the inherent value of the properties is so high. The property on which the slums are rehabilitated, for example, in Mumbai, almost 42, 43 square kilometers of land is encroached by slums. And we are talking of slum rehabilitation, which unfortunately seems to mean only that we will provide them housing. In reality, we have phenomenal manpower resources, human resources that we are wasting. So people who should have been doctors, engineers, lawyers, architects, etc., have become rickshaw drivers, vegetable vendors, hawkers, etc. And so we are saying that we don't want the city to be ugly, so we paint this whole picture and say that, you know, we're giving them houses. In fact, you will see that the houses that are built, for most part, are extremely poor in quality, and unfortunately, the government has diluted the standards, the government of Maharashtra, by providing even weaker development control regulations. This is the one thing that we've changed for Dharavi, where essentially we are saying that many people who deserve to be in middle income are living in slums and are having slum tag, and that should be removed, and they should have the opportunity to get out of the slums, and that's more than 50% who can get out of the slums very easily. And in fact, my organization has prepared a detailed plan to make Mumbai city slum-free, or in fact slum-free Maharashtra. If we did that, the government itself would make in excess of about 1,50,000 crores, and the developers would wind up making about twice or thrice as much if using exactly the same policies that we have right now. But for some reason, I don't think there's interest in really making India or cities slum-free. And so we go through this entire motion of wanting to do that.
Right, Mr. Mehta, this is a very surprising fact. You're saying you've got a blueprint where not only the government but the builders can make huge amount of money and make Indian cities slum-free, but it's not happening. Let me also just, sum up a couple of key roadblocks that one faces when it comes to slum rehab. One is the distrust among slum dwellers. That's the very basic thing. Builders, they say, do not provide basic quality units. And Mr. Mehta just talked about how when you redevelop slums, probably what you're creating is vertical slums because they don't have the required quality of units that you're talking about. The socioeconomic fabric gets destroyed. Livelihoods are lost. It may not be that bad. In fact, it could actually get all those rickshaw pullers towards education and better livelihoods. But immediately, of course, there is a lot of resistance to it because livelihood is very, very closely linked to living in these slums. Getting the consent of 70% of the slum dwellers, that is the basic thing you need to do before you even start looking at a redevelopment project. And land is precious. There's no authentic records of people living out there. huge payouts for approvals have to be taken. So there's a lot which is happening.
I would like to add 2-3 more things to this.
Yes, please, go ahead.
So the first thing is, the biggest problem is that when there is a slum, and when you're supposed to be eligible to get a house instead of the slum that you're living in, there is a cutoff date. So, but what happens typically is that the cutoff date is so old that the other people who started to live in the slums create the biggest problem.
1995 or 2001, we don't know which date.
And then these are huge vote banks. So then there starts a huge political interference in that way, because the politicians don't want these slum dwellers to get affected or get bothered and not vote for them. So these are two more big roadblocks that are affecting slum rehab to happen much more quickly.
Right. Mr. Chorse, what has been your experience? I think it's really important to understand from you. Yes, we are talking about success a little bit, but tell us honestly, as a developer, what kind of issues do you face? We're talking about approvals, we're talking about a lot of corruption in the system. We're also talking about CAG actually pulling up SR and saying that the funds have got diverted and not used. So there are lots of issues surrounding the entire slum redevelopment effort of the country.
I'll address a few of the issues one by one. We start with the trust deficit. The very starting point is that there should be 70% consent, which means we have to have it, because primarily we are in a setup where we need their cooperation. It's a purely democratic process. You require 70% consent of the people, and even the remaining 30 is not easy to be enforced lawfully. You have to use a lot of tact. There is a tremendous trust deficit due to initial errors. When the scheme was launched, there were a lot of people who were not really having the financial capabilities to come in. The slum dwellers group themselves had some ingrown leaders who felt that they can complete the project without really knowing the amount of logistics or the capital intensiveness involved in the process, which resulted in quite a number of failure, and as a consequence this happened. But the large players, the institutional players, have brought in a sense of discipline to the process. Like, we are using very reputed builders or contractors even for the purpose of just building the slum dwellers. It's one of the largest firms of India, Larsen Toubro, who's building the slum projects, not the quality as Mr. Mehta just now mentioned about. Yes, there are some cases where it has happened. I mean, there may be many. Why some there may be many. But now the direction is right. Primarily, we are reducing the trust deficit by this process. Regarding the cutoff date, another point which the other panelists just a little while ago raised, the government of Maharashtra has already initiated a process about the changes of the people who have moved in and out after the 95. Though it's not yet approved, it is in the process, and let's hope, I think it should come out positive.
All right, that's Maharashtra, and we will come back and look a little bit more at Maharashtra, but there are other cities in the country as well. For example, Delhi. There are problems here that, you know, in the entire slum rehab program, the tenements which are provided to those relocated are very, very far away from the city. How do you deal with that? Also, how lucrative do builders find slum redevelopment is up next as we continue this debate. Can India be made slum-free? Can Indian cities be made slum-free? That's the topic we are debating today, because for all of us, our social infrastructure to remain intact, it's important that slums of India go away and everybody gets the basic tenement to live in, which has all the facilities, whether it's water, clean drainage, clean sewage facilities. These are very, very basic human needs and human rights. Before the break, we just summed up that yes, some work in Maharashtra is happening. It's a very, very small beginning. There's a difference between panelists' view. Anil Vankade, Deputy Metropolitan Commissioner, MMRDA, Mukesh Mehta, Chairman, Projects Consultants, Rajen Chorse, Senior Vice President, Omkar Realty Developers. But here in our Delhi studio, now we have Naveen Raheja, CMD Raheja Developers. So I'm going to start with the Delhi experience. We've just heard about the Mumbai experience, Mr. Raheja, and you actually were awarded the first slum redevelopment project in this city, capital city. 2009 to now, what have been the roadblocks? What have been the successes?
Many fronts. There are challenges on the political front. There are challenges on the bureaucratic front. There are challenges with the local socio-economic challenges also. Then you have to carry these slum dwellers along with you all the time. Now, since last 3 years,